A category-level sandstorm does not negotiate. It rips across the desert floor, turning the air into a dense abrasive that shreds vegetation. Every piece of flora in this ecosystem faces the exact same environmental stress. They are all subjected to identical wind velocity, identical soil conditions, and the exact same lack of cover. Yet, as the dust settles, a single mature date palm remains. It takes the full kinetic force of the storm, bends, and holds its ground. In a completely uniform environment, surviving a massive kinetic event is never a matter of luck. It is the mathematical result of a hidden structural advantage. This cross-section reveals what kept that tree anchored, an unusually deep root network driving straight down. Unlike most plants with shallow roots that tear out in the wind, tracing the palm's taproot to its origin point reveals the anomaly forcing this extreme growth. To understand how a biological system becomes immune to a macro disaster, we have to rewind the clock and examine the micro-traumas it faced at its inception. Years ago, buried beneath the sand, the initial date seed behaved like any other sprout. Its biological drive was simple: push upward toward the sunlight. But its vertical progress was immediately blocked by a massive, immovable stone resting directly overhead. The sprout expended vital energy trying to push the rock. It pushed, failed, recovered, and pushed again, wasting crucial resources against an unyielding barrier. It is the exact equivalent of being permanently trapped by a terrible twist of fate. The environment deals a crushing blow, and the expected path forward is entirely closed off. A complete physical blockage forces a biological binary choice. The organism must either exhaust its remaining energy and die, or radically alter its trajectory. The environment rarely offers a clear way out, but sometimes a subtle shift, a breeze rearranging the sand, reveals a harsh truth. If the path above is closed, the only open space is below. This maps the process of vector inversion. The sprout's energy hits a thick barrier, stops, and redirects into a massive downward push. This path offers severe friction. The roots must bore through dense, compacted subsoil that fights them at every millimeter. During this phase, there is zero visible progress on the surface. The organism is burning immense energy in the exact opposite direction of sunlight, creating a quiet internal crisis of exhaustion. True foundational strength is forged exclusively in these blind spots. It requires heavy, unrewarded effort against extreme environmental resistance. Eventually, the creeping roots penetrate deep enough to hit a localized anomaly, a dark, hidden pocket of underground water. Tapping into this deep, exclusive resource creates an immediate biological surge. The plant's internal pressure skyrockets, and its structural capacity multiplies. Armed with subterranean strength, the sprout resumes its upward push. This time, instead of fighting the center of the stone, it forces its way through a tiny micro-crevice at the jagged edge. By the time it finally breaks the surface, it is nothing like a standard seedling. Because it spent months fighting compacted soil, its stem is already dense and firmly anchored before it ever feels the sun. Bypassing an impossible surface obstacle demands massive energy reserves. Those reserves are only unlocked by digging much deeper than the surrounding competition. Which brings us back to the present day, and the unbroken date palm standing alone in the aftermath of the storm. We can map out a side-by-side comparison to see what happens without that initial struggle. On the left, a seed that faced no stone grows shallow roots and is quickly destroyed by high winds. On the right, the deep-rooted tree holds completely firm. The heavy stone was never a villain. It was the strict, necessary architect of the tree's survival. This is the central paradox of resilience. The exact mechanism that denies an organism easy early success becomes the strict prerequisite for its long-term invulnerability. The human equivalent to that heavy stone is obvious. It is the systemic roadblock, the localized failure, or the trapped circumstance that feels utterly unfair. We routinely complain about these immovable objects. We treat them as life-ruining curses meant to punish us, rather than the structural stress tests they actually are. When your upward mobility is severely restricted, you are forced to grow invisible roots. You build a deep reservoir of patience, complex wisdom, and unyielding faith that surface-level success simply cannot teach. Those agonizing, immovable hardships are not blocking your life. They are the specific preparatory curriculum for future, unavoidable crises. So when the upward path is blocked, do not despair.